Hello friends, James Stevenson back with a fresh video about Ford versus GM versus Tesla. How are they doing selling cars? They've all reported their full year 2023 numbers now, and all have reported growth year over year. If you look at the prior year, all of them are up. So how are you to know how they're doing in more generally than just against last year or the year before? Well, I, friends, have created for you, with the help of my co-host Loki, who is curled up in bed sleeping right now, these charts to help answer that question. You can see we're looking at my Excel spreadsheet where you can see how many vehicles Ford, GM, and Tesla have produced and delivered. These are deliveries of vehicles produced by Ford, GM, and Tesla over the past 8 years. And as you can see, the 2020s haven't been kind to Ford or GM, but they have been to Tesla. So let's take a look at these numbers. 8 years ago, in 2016, how many vehicles did Ford sell? 6.65 million. And then in 2017, 6.6 million vehicles even. General Motors also sold more than 6 million vehicles. 8 years ago, they sold 6.25 million, we'll call that. And in 2017, they did see a drop down to 5.5 million vehicles. GM led Ford in the strategy to cut low-margin sedan models from their lineup, and then Ford followed. So both of these companies now focus on mostly the production of trucks and SUVs and sedans if they can make a decent margin on them. They've both discontinued a lot of models that they weren't making a lot of money on, that were especially small or economy sedans. They have ceded those markets to companies like Toyota, Honda. I would have said Mazda and Nissan, but they're doing terrible. Like Nissan, on their own website, has a chart like this one showing similar declines since 2017 for their vehicle sales. Very unusual for a company to admit that with a chart, especially on their own website, over the longer term history of their sales. What's Tesla doing? Well, in 2016, Tesla had sold, what is that, 76,000 vehicles, rising to 103,000. Every year, Tesla sells more vehicles than they sold the year before. You can see how those climb. 500,000 in 2020, nearly a million the following year, 2021. Huge growth from 2020 to 2021 for Tesla, while these other companies saw the lowest sales they've had in the past 8 years, back in 2021. With the chip shortage, they were calling it, and some other excuses they came up with, it really hit GM hard. Ford's numbers didn't look all that bad. But both Ford and GM can boast increases in 2023 and 2022 versus where they were in 2021. What's the problem with that? Well, you can see it clearly on my chart that 2021 was an outlier. It was the lowest sales by far for GM of any year, and still the lowest sales, even if not by far, for Ford. Still a far cry from the 6 million or even 5 million vehicles they were selling just a few years earlier. GM hasn't even made it back to 4 million total vehicles sold, where Ford is. What's Tesla been doing lately? 1.8 million vehicles as of 2023. So the next time you see somebody saying, hey, Tesla's market cap is higher than Ford's or GM's, even though Ford and GM sell more vehicles, well, there's a lot of good reasons for that. The trend on this chart is one of those. Ford and GM are just smaller companies than they used to be, selling fewer vehicles now than they used to. And the trend doesn't look great. You don't want the ski slope chart, which is what both Ford and GM are showing here. Tesla is showing reliable, consistent, continued growth year after year. And the story doesn't change much when you look at revenue or earnings per vehicle, which we will look at in future vehicles, but that's enough for this video. I will cut off the video here after checking in with Loki one more time and say thank you for watching this video. Look out for more in the future. Thank you to my two executive producers, Kathy Kitchler and Rebellionaire.com, and I'll see you in the next one.